Welcome to this introduction to ISO 31700. Look, today we're bringing a massive, fundamental shift right into the boardroom. We're finally moving away from that outdated paradigm of viewing privacy as just a reactive compliance checklist, a box to tick at the very end of a product cycle. Instead, we're repositioning privacy as a proactive, absolute cornerstone of your business strategy.
Think about the sheer business risk of a privacy breach for a second. What actually happens when digital trust breaks? Well, consider that most companies lose a huge chunk of their customer base literally overnight following a breach. In our modern digital economy, consumer trust isn't just some nice-to-have feature. It is the ultimate currency. When that trust shatters because of lax or non-existent privacy practices, the fallout goes way beyond a temporary IT headache. It sets off a whole cascade of severe consequences for the people affected and, of course, for the organization responsible.
Consumer trust is the defining concern of the digital economy, and that brings us to the core premise of our source text today. If personally identifiable information, PII, gets compromised, it hits your brand reputation instantly, and it invites some incredibly serious legal trouble. Let's be real, if your product doesn't protect the consumer, the market simply won't protect your product.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap. First, an introduction to ISO 31700. Then we'll explore its three guiding pillars: empowerment and transparency, institutionalization and responsibility, and ecosystem and lifecycle. Finally, we'll cover securing the future.
Section 1. Introduction to ISO 31700.
Privacy by design. These are methodologies integrating privacy into the initial design stage and throughout the complete lifecycle of products and services. What this really means is embedding default, consumer-oriented privacy controls into your products right from day one. It's like building the brakes into a car while you're designing the engine, rather than bolting them on as an afterthought. The fundamental goal here is simple. The burden of protection should not fall on the consumer. They shouldn't have to navigate some incredibly dense maze of settings just to feel secure. The product needs to be inherently designed to protect their PII by default.
Moving right along to Pillar 1, Empowerment and Transparency. Empowering consumers to manage their own data is a critical check against abuses and misuses of PII. And this brilliantly illustrates our point. Empowering consumers isn't just about throwing long, complicated privacy policies at them. It's about giving them meaningful control. That is exactly what actively builds the consumer trust we just established as the ultimate currency of the digital economy.
To make that happen, the standard lays out specific consumer rights and capabilities. We're talking about accessible human-computer interfaces, or HCI, clear privacy preferences, transparent communication channels, and crucial support for diverse consumer populations. You absolutely have to account for varying levels of technical literacy. Imagine an elderly user, or maybe someone in a high-stress situation trying to navigate your app. Your privacy controls have to be highly usable for them, not just for your own tech experts.
Which brings us to Pillar 2, Institutionalization and Responsibility. Now, realistically, empowering the consumer on the outside is entirely impossible if your internal corporate structure isn't aligned to support it. So the crucial point here is the distinction between an accountable person and a responsible party. The accountable person has an overview of the entire PII lifecycle, they make sure prerequisites are met, and they delegate the work. On the flip side, the responsible party is the person or team that actually completes those specific delegated privacy tasks. Framing privacy risk management this way makes it a top-down boardroom imperative. It demands continuous, multifunctional collaboration across your legal, engineering, and product teams.
But remember, risk management requires continuous monitoring. Privacy risks are constantly evolving. Leadership has to make absolutely sure their teams are equipped with the right knowledge, skills, and ongoing training to continuously hunt for vulnerabilities. A product might be perfectly secure at launch, sure, but software updates, new features, and rapid shifts in the tech environment mean that risk management is literally never finished.
So how do we manage it? ISO 31700 lays out 4 key steps. 1. Conduct privacy risk assessment. 2. Establish control requirements. 3. Monitor effectiveness. And 4. Update and respond. You identify and treat privacy risks before they blow up into full-blown breaches. Start with that comprehensive assessment, lock in your controls, keep a very close eye on them, and crucially, adapt quickly as the threat landscape changes.
Now let's broaden our perspective with Pillar 3, Ecosystem and Lifecycle.
Now, what's really interesting about the PII lifecycle is how it often extends way beyond the actual lifecycle of the consumer product itself. Day 1 is creation and collection. 6 months in, you've got storage and active use. Year 3 might involve transfer to third parties, and year 5 plus is eventual secure disposal. A consumer might stop using your app or toss a piece of hardware after a year, but the data that product generated, the PII, might sit on a server, be sent to external partners, or require secure disposal years down the road. You are responsible for that data until it is completely, securely destroyed. Because of this long life cycle, privacy demands a truly holistic approach. The consumer is in the digital ecosystem right at the center of an incredibly complex network map. You have to consider their environment and how their data moves, even when certain factors lie way outside your organization's direct control. Your design simply has to anticipate the realities of the network the product operates within.
And a massive chunk of that ecosystem involves external partners, leading to third-party interconnectedness. The standard is extremely clear about third-party vendor risks. Organizations have to rigorously assess the privacy capabilities of any external parties processing PII on their behalf. You can outsource the data processing, absolutely, but you absolutely cannot outsource your accountability to the consumer. No way.
Looking at these ecosystem elements and privacy obligations, accountability just doesn't end when a product breaks or is retired. If you have a third-party vendor, your obligation is to assess their privacy capabilities. For shared platforms, you coordinate data sharing. And for a product's end of life, you ensure secure data destruction. Organizations must have an ironclad plan to securely delete PII when it's no longer necessary. That minimizes the residual privacy risk to the consumer.
Finally, securing the future. A demonstrated leadership commitment to privacy by design is essential to operationalize and institutionalize privacy. Let's really see how this builds our ultimate takeaway. None of these controls, risk assessments, or beautifully designed interfaces matter one bit without absolute, undeniable buy-in from the top level of the business. Privacy absolutely has to be a boardroom priority. 31700. Ultimately, this introduction to ISO 31700 proves that rigorous, proactive privacy standards are no longer just annoying regulatory hurdles. They are the absolute bedrock of future market leadership and technical innovation. Organizations that adopt this mindset are going to completely outpace those still relying on reactive compliance.
So I want to leave you with one final provocative question. Is your organization ready to lead the market with digital trust? It's time to look inward, audit your internal readiness, and transform privacy by design from some theoretical concept into your greatest strategic advantage.